95.2 FM, cranking all the hit tunes. This show starts right now. Thank you, the listener, for joining us. Of course, that was the amazing band Cross Control with Everything's Fucked. Cross Control's unbelievable new record, Try and Survive, is out, and their frontman, Vince Averill, is going to be joining us in the studio. I see him walking in right now. You're listening to the #1 most downloaded show in the world, recorded live at a gas station on Interstate 95. This is a major day here. We're taping this, working my daily double shift, 6 to 6 here at the gas station. Dude!
GJ.
It's so nice to have you here. You legitimize this show by being here. Thank you, Vince Averill, as I live and breathe. My good friend Vince. What's up, dude?
Appreciate you, GJ. Good to be here, bro. Now, what I'm wondering is this one of them gas stations where I can get that bag of Gardettos that's just the rye chips? You got those? One of my favorites. We do. One of my favorite gas station pickups is the all rye chip, dude. Yeah, and it better not be the situation where they're all covered in dust. No one else is grabbing them, you know, because that's not a good sign either.
Dude, if we want to talk about the station real quick, you'll notice there's no ads on the pumps. Like, I got sick of those loud ads on the pumps. Like, do you notice you pull up to the pump and it's like one of the Jimmys from late night comedy TV?
Bro, the screen, the noise. Can I just concentrate on not getting any static electricity going right now and not blowing my car up? Forgetting to light a ciggy or something? Like, I don't need constant. Why is it got to be? It's like almost as bad as you get in the cab and you're like, I'm going to throw up. Get this fucking bullshit off. I don't need to see the late, great Steve Irwin fucking wrangling a goddamn cockatoo when I'm going from the airport, you know? Yeah, no, it's too much, man. Have you heard about these people? I mean, here's the thing, right? I read so many headlines and so few stories, so I always just have little pieces of cobbled information. It's a problem. But like I kind of gleaned a little info about these people who are now taking these like really long walks, like hours, like I don't even know, 4-6 hour walks, right?
I think that's me.
But what they're finding is happening is when you do that and you're just sort of like, you're not looking at your phone, you're not looking at shit, you're just sort of walking, that at a certain point, the brain starts to like, you'll be like, oh, I forgot about this fucking person I knew in third grade. Or like your brain just starts like fucking pulling shit out because you're not constantly like being inundated with whatever else or stimulated, I guess, you know. But so I appreciate these old school pumps where you see the numbers turning, you know. You're like, is this guy fucking me? Am I getting the amount that I'm supposed to be getting?
No. If anything, it's half price. It's free for you today. How do you curb that phone addiction? Because you're speaking my language, man. That's the whole thing is like,
dude, I'm
always
know.
on my phone.
I'm so bad. Yeah. It's not good. I'd like to figure it out. It is 100. It's like, I can't remember who the fuck, some NBA player was on Jim Rome like years ago. And he was talking about how like he would buy a video game system, all these games, and eventually he would just have to take it and throw it away because he was just like, he was so addicted. And then he would buy it all again. And people were clowning on him. And Rome's like, no, this is a real addiction. It's a real addiction. And that's what the fucking phone is too.
Truly, dude. And I can't imagine for people younger than you and me, they're fucked. Pardon my French, but
right.
You know, they're doing it since babies.
Bro, there is no folding up the note in class. Do you like me? Circle yes or no. It's like, I already saw your ass online. I don't, you know, like what the fuck?
Dude, I would not have been okay in that climate. I mean, here's the thing is when we were growing up, they said to us, don't watch too much TV. But this is way different than that because the TV thing turned out to be like, well, okay. But if you're watching TV, it's a completely duller and different experience from being on the iPad 9 hours a day. I'm not making any
it's way less interactive.
statements,
No. It's way less interactive, right? And it's way less like personal. or like you can't, you're like, the TV, at least at that point, was however many channels. And this we're talking about is like you can type in almost anything as absurdly fucked up as you want. You don't got to walk out in the woods to find it anymore. It's like it's in your hand,
Yeah.
and it's not good, dude. But who
Have
knows?
you made any use of AI?
Not personally, but uh I have heard some good examples of people being like, what was it? Someone was like, I can't remember what kind of band it was, but the
Oh.
person was like, I didn't think it was very good, so I like asked the AI to write a song in that style, and
It's
then it was
probably
like
Greta
actually,
Van Fleet.
yeah, it was like pretty good. And then I've also had people send me pictures that, I'm fucking old as dirt, dude. I got some pictures from people where it took me a second. I thought it was. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, oh, it's bullshit.
Oh
Scary.
yeah, man. I was like, oh, Tupac and Biggie are alive again, and they're doing all these tracks they're releasing, but turns out it's AI. I mean, the Beatles are dropping a new track. I'm sure you saw that.
Dude, what? I want to be the guy whose job it is every year to figure out how to repackage the Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Christmas is
Dude.
coming up. Can we
Yeah.
change the jacket and, the mix or whatever? It's like every fucking year they're
Dude, he's like, have we done more bass?
there's hold on, we're scared that the McCartney name will now go for another fucking cent. We have to like make sure none of them ever have to think about working.
They're like, could we put Travis Barker on the drums and the bass?
Paul doesn't want to go to Mars, but he's mad that other people are able to and he can't. So we need to get these Revolver CDs repressed.
Oh my God. Well, real quick, I don't even know how we got on all this, but that's the other thing. Technology, AI, and space aliens landing, man. That stuff is real.
Dude,
It's unbelievable.
I just saw your boy from Blink 182 talking about they're not necessarily from
Yeah.
another planet. They're from another somehow I saw him explaining how there's different, like the past and the present, the future are all just in separate lanes or something. And so the
Oh,
alien might just
okay.
be a person coming from a different, I don't know if he was trying to say a
Oh.
dimension, or that's where I get all my, most of my alien stuff is off Blink 182.
Dude, it is amazing that that guy is not only an icon in like 90s pop punk, but in the world of alien research. And he must
Yeah.
be more excited than anyone that there's now proof of this stuff. Like he must be out there like storm chasing. Or actually, no, he's on tour. I think Blink's on tour. So I've heard,
Dude,
but
and he's back in the band. He wasn't even in the band for a while. He's back on it.
is that
Uh
Hoppus?
no, it's the other one. Tom
Oh, my bad.
DeLong. Or is
Oh,
that his name?
yes, of
DeLong?
course.
Yeah. Dude, I always kick myself. One time there's a bar in LA called the Dresden, as seen in the seminal film Swingers.
Yes.
But as you walk out the front, like there's
Money.
a little room, a very small room up in the front, almost maybe supposed to be a coat room, but it's not, whatever. And one time I was walking out and there was a little sign, there was a gathering in there, someone giving a talk on alien involvement in the JFK assassination. Why I didn't bang a left and go immediately into that room, I must have been busy or half cocked or someone, but I always think about it. I'm like, fuck, dude. I wish because I saw a dude pointing at like talking and pointing at a screen. you know? Yeah, missed it. Missed it.
Like a PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Dude, those people are more justified now than ever. Like they must have more juice for their fire.
so fired up that some of this stuff's
Dude.
starting to come to the fore. Real.
The last time I saw you in LA, we went to this like divey diner and
Oh yeah.
I
Where
said, is this from
fucking
a movie? Yeah.
yeah. We didn't know you dug it up, I think, right? I didn't know. I don't even think I knew that. You were the one who pulled it, maybe.
Yeah, I pulled it after the fact. I was like, that's the diner from Reservoir Dogs.
Dude, I went back and sat in that spot on another visit. Yeah. Sat in the
That's
Reservoir
sick.
Dog spot.
That
Yeah.
is sick.
it's that rare moment in time when LA, the air quality is better than other parts of the country. People in Michigan are like telling me how awful the fires are and shit from Canada.
Do you miss the New York comedy scene? Like every day, are you just like pining for the good old days when you and I were neighbors in Brooklyn?
Portions of that, yeah, man. I mean, it was obviously like the days of our youth, just fucking getting after it. Which, but I don't miss like, you know, going, okay, it's Tuesday. I have this much change until
Yeah.
Friday. I guess I
Yeah.
better use it for tall boys. But I also
Yeah.
think about it. If there I do romanticize it, but there are portions of it that I don't miss. But yeah, fuck, dude. I mean, the good old days when we were neighbors and tearing up Borum Street, or
Yeah.
the halcyon days, as they say, dude.
Yeah, man. On our block, I think was the original tent city.
Yeah,
Like
right.
this is like 2008.
Occupy Borum, dude.
Yeah, those dudes. There was a group of people on the street 24/7.
A
That was
neighborhood
a good
watch,
time.
if you will.
Yeah.
In fact, I haven't gotten around to it, but when I read McCaffrey's book on the rise of alt comedy in New York, if Borum isn't mentioned, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on the validity of the whole book, all of it. He didn't do his research if he doesn't touch on Borum Street, but we'll see. So wild. He wrote that, and then Bridenstine has written a book about the Chicago. I mean, every scene, every territory is being.
Oh my God. Bridenstine does the microdose comedy show in LA, right?
Bro, we slid through.
Yeah,
We
you
slid
and I
through.
pulled up, dude. Much love, much respect. Wait, he
Yes.
wrote an expose about Chicago comedy, huh? That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hit some of those other pillars, dude. The Millers of the world, the fucking Nanjianis, dude. The fucking
Oh my God.
the Hannibals, things of this nature. All the big Chicago heads, dude.
The Tim Robinsons.
Tim Roth. Well, I think that's a little after him, right? Because I think he was still in Detroit doing Second City.
I heard Tim Robinson's quirky. Chicago expose. Gonna have to look into that. Shout
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
The first book you mentioned, you and I know a guy who read it, had nothing but great things to say about it. I can ask him if you're in it.
I know I would be very surprised and shocked unless it's about the night that I was at what was that bar that we would go to on, was it A or B, just off of 14th? I feel like a lot of nights that's where it kind of ended. It not
Like Hi-Fi?
not Roberta's. It had a name like
Auto
that.
Shrunken Head or something.
That one was on 14. But anyway, there was a night in there with the author and another individual who was very high on Jesse Pop. He even climbed up on a roof one time. Do you remember this guy who climbed up on a roof to profess that Jesse Pop was the funniest comic in the circuit?
Holy shit. I forgot about that. Wait, what happened? He was so obsessed.
He was obsessed with Jesse, and he was also kind of crazy. And there was a night where he climbed up on the roof of that was at the Bushwick Country Club, and he climbed up, and we're like, what the fuck? And he's like, Jesse Pop, you're the funniest comedian on the circuit. And Pop's like, just get down, man. And the staff's like, get the fuck up. Pop's like, just come down, man. Just come down.
Oh my God.
What was his name?
Jumper.
And then we were in another place one time where he was prone to doing wild shit that could get you beat up. But there was a night in whatever bar I'm talking about over there in East Village where we were sitting around a table and he started messing with McCaffrey. Not good.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So maybe he's in the book.
Well, the book is sort of like a fictional POV, I guess, and maybe half real names, half not. Yeah. Okay. So the way that this mutual friend of ours, I'm gonna honestly gonna have to bleep his name because that's how self-conscious
he is about. Hear it.
Dude, he doesn't even want to Zoom with me because he says he's afraid of AI. But anyway, that's not the author.
Afraid of AI?
That's the guy who read the book. He said, yeah, I don't know. It's, an expose of the New York comedy scene where like all this stuff happens. And all I was trying to say was some names are used and some names
Oh,
aren't. And I'm sure it's about more famous people than me. I mean, you got to have who? You got to have Aziz in there, John F. O'Donnell. You got to have those people in there.
absolutely, dude.
Eric
You know,
Andre.
yeah.
I think
Fucking,
Eric Andre's in the book.
I think Bridenstine's is more of an like a historical account or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I don't get the sense that his was fictionalized at all. Um, maybe McCaffrey changed some names, so no one gets sued. Who fucking knows, man?
Yes, I've heard Chelsea Peretti can be very litigious.
But he's a lawyer, so he wouldn't worry about it. He could take care of himself if anything came up, right? Yeah.
I want to
So
say I didn't. He asked me if I would write a quote for that book, but I didn't
mhm.
feel like I had anything to offer his book
Hmm.
2 years ago when he asked me, and that's because I have a lot of like self-hatred and
Yeah, because you absolutely do. You absolutely do. You were in the mix and in the thick, dude. And that's not me. I'm not like trying to crack, dude. That's real. So like
oh.
no one could raise an eyebrow if Greg Johnson wrote a quote or was involved in that book at all because that you were fucking knee deep in Rafifi, dude, and all that shit. So straight up.
Oh my god.
That's just me being
Uh,
real with you, Greg. What do you do like what do you do? You put the bathroom key on like a license plate. How do you keep people from running off with the bathroom key at this place?
I'm so glad you asked that.
Put it on
Well,
like a canoe paddle. What's the big giant item you use to deter theft?
we're installing a new like keypad, so
Oh, okay,
you're
good.
seeing like
Yeah,
sort of like an
combination
interim.
lock. I like it.
But people are actually pretty good about that stuff and the honor system here. We've never had a problem with the
Huh.
bathrooms. The bathrooms are pristine. It's like Xanadu. I am so happy you're here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about your band.
Yes.
But I want to touch first on 10 years of your own podcast, which is just phenomenal and iconic.
A decade in the making.
Congratulations. So huge. Of course, I'm talking about We Watch Wrestling. Everyone knows it. Did you have a viewing party the other night?
There's a video store that opened up here. They have all these old tapes that you can buy. They sell VCRs sometimes. It's that kind of spot. But they also have a little space. And so at night, after they close, someone will curate different things, movies or whatever. And so we have a couple times now, Matt McCarthy and myself, another New York legend,
Amazing.
by way of Rhode Island, we'll just put together 90 minutes of stuff. So we
So
each go
good.
like, okay, what about this? Put this in there, put that. And then we sit there and we have microphones, but it's not mystery science. We're not like, we may occasionally make a comment, but it's not the deal is more just come and watch, hang out with
Yeah.
us. So it's been pretty cool to be able to do that because that's really the show, right? Is like watching wrestling. And so we did it.
We watch wrestling. It's fucking
Bro,
phenomenal.
I
I'm glad you
legit
brought up McCarthy. It sounds like the space you're describing sounds like McCarthy's garage from
oh,
what I
bro,
see
it
on the
is.
TikToks.
It really is. He may have more tapes than them. I don't know, but uh,
I'm referring to his TikTok. He's the only person I follow on TikTok. I know that sounds extreme, but he actually is the only person. And his videos and his garage is hilarious.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hysterical. I mean, he's a god of the VHS and the mediums.
dude, he's the king of all physical media.
Yes.
Uh, I legit woke up this morning. We've been working on what happened was probably, I'm guessing almost a year ago now. Someone just started a podcast called We Watch Wrestling, and
Stop.
so they were immediately hammered down by our listeners, for like, what the fuck are
Nice.
you doing, But in the meantime, I was like, I better take some action. And so it's taken this long. I woke up this morning to find out we finally got the trademark for it.
Yes,
So
dude.
we got the little
That's
TM after it
awesome.
now, dude. But it takes a long government bureaucracy can be a little slow
Oh
at
my
times. But
God.
just this morning, 10 years in the making, the trademark is mine.
Oh,
for We Watch Wrestling Podcast.
congratulations.
Thank you. So then August, we will do our 10th anniversary show once again at there are two luchadors, Pentagon and Phoenix, who have a store in Pasadena, and we did our show there last year. They also have a space where they show like Santo movies and shit. So anyway, we'll do that in August over there, and that's just a live show. That's just me and Maddie doing a show in front of people. But
Oh my God, I've seen the live show. It kills. And your fans love it so much. I saw your P.O. box too one time. You got a haul. I mean, I'm getting personal here, but you have a haul of passionate
we went
sort
to my
of
P.O.
art
box?
and stuff. No, you just
Oh.
you showed me some art that you received in it, I think.
Oh yeah, we do. We man, people who listen to our show are fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Dude, I got to ask you, I know it's a long time ago now, but WrestleMania was in your hometown this year. Was that a good time? Did you enjoy yourself?
It was awesome. You know what I did though? I got a hotel. I didn't even stay at home, because I wanted to be like, it's the same as any other year. I leave and then I'm back when I'm back, but I can't be there thinking like, oh, do I need to come home and clean the cat box or something, So I got to fucking treat it like I treat it. But it was fucking great, man. I can't remember what Matt told me. From between Thursday and Sunday, we went to like fucking 12 or 15 shows or something, because there's just nonstop shit going on the whole time outside of the actual WWE presented WrestleMania, which night 1 was really, really good. Night 2 was pretty good too. But yeah, it was fucking great. And being in LA, you're insured good weather. Next year in Philly, again, what do I gotta get, a Gore-Tex suit? What's it gonna be like? Snowing, raining,
Everyone loves Philly.
No, I'm looking forward to Philly, but it's like that last time we were in New York and we got rained on. It's just like, the weather just isn't suitable at the beginning of April. Maybe it's nice, but probably it's not,
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
They always run the stadium, which is outside in those places. But
oh yeah, something tells me you and Matt McCarthy might be under a roof in a box for that one too.
Well, the other thing you got to consider, we're getting into the fucking weeds, but like those outdoor stadiums too, you got to consider when you're buying your tickets, because that means they're going to put a roof over the ring and there's going to be fucking posts on the corner. So if you're off, you're going to be looking at a post, and they don't even try to fucking tell you. You got to weed that shit out yourself, dude. McMahon doesn't care. McMahon does not fucking care about you.
No way. McMahon doesn't care about anyone.
Not good people. Not good people.
Dude, I saw one WWE house show with you, and there was a cage match. I think CM Punk was there and John Cena was there. But I got to say, that was before you and Matt McCarthy started the We Watch Wrestling podcast. In the 10 years that you've done it, who are some of the wrestlers that you've connected with maybe through the podcast that have really struck you? Here's an alternative question. Is Dwayne Johnson currently on steroids?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, HGH at least, right? One of the craziest, I think, we were front row in a situation, because sometimes when they have these shows in rooms that aren't really made for sports or whatever, we're at this club called the Hi-Hat here in LA. So we're sat on a stage, so we're actually like even with the ring, like you're basically, you might as well be on an extension of the ring. You're just sitting right in the front row. And this was the night that David Arquette decided to have a death match with a guy named Nick Gage, who is the king of death match, who was in jail for 8 years,
of course,
and is incredible. But I don't think I think that Arquette was so hot and bothered at the time to become a real wrestler, like to be respected and whatever. So he gets in this match, and right away, like you can just smell something's off.
Who's introduced first?
I'm guessing.
I mean, obviously Gage is the heel.
Well, no, I think for no other reason than I feel like Arquette probably came out first because Gage has his whole
gotcha.
entrance, he comes into the
Okay.
fucking the one Metallica song. But so it ultimately it culminates with Gage, like he stabs him in the neck with this broken light tube. And so fucking Arquette is, whatever danger he was really in or wasn't in, he was bleeding and he was freaking out. So the match is over, but then the culmination is fucking the late Luke Perry waiting in the wings.
What?
Basically Arquette walks out, Luke Perry, not like, this isn't to the crowd, but we could see him from where we were. They go and get in the car and go to the hospital. So it was just such a
Oh my
crazy
God.
moment. As
Luke
far as,
Perry was there to support David Arquette, and he's the
yes,
one that,
he like
wow.
he collected him and fucking, but by that point, and also Luke Perry's son was on that show too, Jungle Boy, who's now on AEW, who was wrestling during that time too. But so he was probably there in both capacities. But all I know is he grabbed Arquette and he got him out of there, But
God,
and
was he Jungle Boy at that point? No.
he was Jungle Boy, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think he was Jungle Boy from the time he debuted. They're now calling him Jungle Boy Jack Perry, but
He was basically Jungle Boy out of the womb.
well, I also love they announce him from Valley Village, right, which is the town he lives in the valley, but they don't say California, so you're like, Valley Village, that sounds like it might be in the jungle, Um, but
That's what I think about when I watch Vanderpump Rules and they're
uh,
all living in Valley Village.
oh God, dude, I didn't realize how nice it was over there. But there's also some footage. I don't know if it's in Arquette's documentary or if it's like where I think the night before or the day before, Arquette takes Nick Gage to Musso and Frank's, which is this like classic, the oldest restaurant in Hollywood. It's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's like where Charlie Chaplin would fucking eat with his horse tied up front and shit. But like they're at Musso and Frank's, and Gage. Not that you got to dress up for that, obviously, but Gage is just in his shit,
Oh,
But I was also like, what the fuck? I couldn't tell what was going on. I don't know if they got milkshakes or what, but there's like some fucking crazy. Gage is just like, let me get a fucking, a ribeye and a fucking chocolate milk. I don't know, but the footage that I saw was pretty amazing from that. But that one stands out over the last 10 years. There's been so much. I mean, as much as like all the guys who are on top now in WWE and in AEW are all guys that we saw in a little room in Reseda within the last 10 years.
Yeah, man.
So it's like that whole thing showing up here at a time, when that was like the spot, was just fucking whatever you want to call it, the stars aligning or something, that we just landed here at the same time. I mean, that had been going on, but it really fucking like hit its zenith, I think, within, in 2013, 14.
Yeah. So who are the guys now that are on top WWE and AEW that were in the
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I mean, not so much like right when I left New York, but Danielson, Seth Rollins,
That's amazing.
Kenny Omega, fucking Will Ospreay, the Lucha Brothers. So yeah, it's just like everybody, like pretty much came through there. But it sucks because that room is gone now. That was almost like a punk rock, Like I knew it was popping when like all of a sudden, I'm sitting next to Sofia Vergara or something, or you look up on the stage and fucking what's his name? I can't, but like all of a sudden, like there's like actors and people like trying to slip in to see like what the fuck's going on. It's like it's this exclusive little sweat box where all these nerds are, but it got cool or something.
What was it called? Why'd it go away?
It was American Legion Hall in Reseda that I think I don't know if they ended up selling it or something. And so they sold the building and so it got demolished. But and now it's in this club downtown. It's just never been the same. It's still fun, still great, but like that room was so much of it, it's like comedy, like the roof is low.
Yeah.
Like, they're just factors of it. And it was, packed. Like a number of times, especially smoking weed, I'm sitting there going like, okay, if there's a fire, like you're gonna have to like head walk out of here, to survive. But
You must have almost gotten bled on by David Arquette during that match. You said, right? Like you're pretty
I
close.
wasn't. What happened was because I've been doing the show for 10 years, but I've been in the game a lot longer. When light tubes come out, I'm not around. I don't want to breathe that shit in when it breaks.
Oh my God.
So like I had moved down onto the floor because I was like, I don't want to breathe that stuff in. I also don't want to catch a shard of glass. Like, because if there's tubes, there's glass, there's fucking all that shit. It's not for me.
You gave your seat to Luke Perry's kid, Jungle Boy.
He came out. Yeah. I mean, I certainly have been bled on, but not that night. Thankfully.
Wait, what goes on when you're bled on? Do you run out of the place? Or are you like...
dude, it was awful. Let's see. Every year AEW runs Double or Nothing in Vegas. So not this past year, but the year before, they did a some kind of street fight, fucking anarchy in the arena, I think they call it, whatever. And so, dudes are fucking, and a guy comes walking up our aisle. We're on the aisle, like in the first level, and a guy's walking back up to like fight somebody in the hallway or something. But he's just walking up, he's covered in blood, and he just kind of just blows out. And it was like I look at Matt, he looks at me, it's like also just blood. And this is like last year, so I'm still wearing a mask at this thing, and I'm like,
oh my God,
we just like fucking sprinted to the bathroom. I changed my mask. I'm like taking a Silkwood shower. It was fucking awful. Yeah. And then the year before that at Mania, or maybe the same year, we were front row for a show, and a dude, a deathmatch guy from Japan, Otani.
Wait,
Otani? No.
That's the MLB pitcher for the
yeah. Well,
Angels.
That's not him. Why the fuck can't I think of his fucking name?
He kills, that guy. To be honest, Otani like homered twice and struck out 10 last night, I think.
Oh, dude, forget it.
And they say he has like a broken finger or something.
He's leading the Angels in every stat.
Dude, that guy is so amazing.
Yeah.
I could podcast just about him.
No, that fool is like he's gonna get so much money from a different team next year. Someone was like, if Mike Ilitch, the creator of Little Caesars, who passed away, but when he owned the Wings and the Tigers, spent all the money to try to win, he would have already offered Otani like $500 million. But unfortunately he passed away, and his children were like, fuck all that. Like, we're gonna try to make some money on this shit.
You were at like a Japanese death match.
Oh no! So that one.
You.
I can't think of the fucking guy. I'm completely blanking. But he's a guy who spits. Does the mist. And so he did. We got hit with the mist on that one. It wasn't the blood. It was fucking mouth juice.
Oh, you gotta watch out for the mist,
dude. And especially when you're wearing the kind of sleds I'm wearing, dude. They got all over my fucking shoes, dude. That was the worst part.
No.
Yeah.
You could probably sell those shoes, though. You could be like, they're covered in the dude's mist.
This is such a fucking synapse misfire, dude, that I'm like, can't think of this fucking guy's name.
It's okay.
It's all good, dude. It's all good.
Dude, I love it. I'll drop it in.
What's not to love, dude?
Dude, yeah. I could talk about wrestling all day. My brother wanted me to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
No more appropriate time than now. If you think John Cena was on steroids in the height of his career, going back 15 years, like when he started.
I mean, I'm sure he's done some cycles for sure. And then, there's that thing of like when the Benoit shit goes down, and they start testing, you're still going like, well, not everyone is being tested the same way. And it was also 3 strikes. And you could also, if you had a script, you're like, I got a prescription. I'm recovering from an injury, whatever it is. So who knows? But
Thank you.
what if he was doing cycles? At least he was taking what he needed. No back knee. Never saw any back knee on that guy. Cena was clean.
There you have
Yeah.
it. Cena is clean.
His back was clean. Who knows, man?
Dude,
But
Dave Bautista is now a gigantic movie star. Would you ever have seen that arch for him?
no, true thespian. But I will say his best stuff was right on his way out when he was heel. So at least you got a glimpse of like, oh, it's not as far fetched. And then I think he did a good job by sort of easing in. It's not like his first movie wasn't him trying to do a ton of dialogue, right? Like
Oh yeah, it
that
helped
Drax
because it was
shit was
Guardians of the
cool.
Galaxy, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that was his very first, but still, it's like his first like real movie or whatever you want to say. Like definitely, but he's been good, dude. You like that fucking what was that movie from last summer? The part two with with the James Bond in it. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, Knives Out.
Knives Out. Yeah, it's like he's
He
fucking good.
acted. Yeah,
Yeah, he's an actor.
dude.
I didn't
I
see the
got
fucking Knock at the Woods or whatever the fuck though, so I don't know how he did in that one. But
Yeah, M Night Shyamalan movie, right?
Shyamalan, yes, I tend to avoid.
I bet that the twist is that Dave Batista is an evil wrestler. Like he
It
comes
turns out,
on and he's like
yeah,
a math professor, and you're like, oh, this guy's
yeah.
cool. He's like got no beef. And
At a
then
certain point, you notice he's got tearaway pants on. You're like, that's weird.
yeah. And like a fucking tricolor dragon tattoo covering
Mm.
90% of his body.
Well, at least he got that belly button tattoo. He had that sun around his belly button. That's gone.
You
So
got that removed?
I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's not there anymore. I don't know if it's covered or if it's removed, but the sun has gone down on Dave's belly button finally.
Not to get
So
too into the weeds on this WWE stuff, but how do
I
you
live.
now categorize WWE? Because we had the Attitude Era, right?
Mm,
If you look at where that whole entity's at now,
yeah,
how do you characterize it? I mean, as an outsider, I might say something like scandal with the McMahons and
sure.
Roman Reigns.
But also making more money than ever, and you know, super super popular. Like it's definitely having it's not, the ratings aren't what those were, but everything has kind of changed in that landscape. The revenue stream is fucking out the yin yang. And I mean, it was the product itself was pretty bad for a while, but it has gotten better with the stepping down of Vince, but he is slowly creeping back. We're
Oh,
hearing tales of him making changes from the phone, calling in and making changes to
what?
the script, as you if you will. So I don't know. I mean, it's wrestling is pretty big right now, but I don't know how I would categorize it as an era. Um,
Within the past year, didn't a new guy come in named Khan, like an owner, and he was trying to phase out Vince McMahon?
well, yeah, Nick Khan. I think he's been there longer than that, but he came in and he's in a high role, or his role is up on the chain. And yeah, it depends. If you like all those dimes that got dropped on Vince related to paying people off and all that shit. The call came from inside the house, as it were. It was very succession, and the thought was it was Nick Khan trying to be like, we need to kill this fucking guy in a figurative sense, so that we can, because the show was so bad when he was still there, like making every last call. Like it was unwatchable for a while. um but
Yeah, and like, can you describe what that is? Is it like Vince McMahon kind of like not progressing the stories and the characters enough? Like, how is he bad?
well, it's Vince McMahon being old as dirt, a person who he just lost touch, because he also has never he works at that job, like literally, other than the maybe 3.5 hours he sleeps at night. So like, it's not like Vince is going like, oh, here's how the world has changed in the last 30 years, other than however it pertains. Very, like, please stand up when they got their app. It was like, please stand up and explain to the room what an app is, because he doesn't fucking know, or like, yeah. So it's like, couple that with age and everything else, and it's just like he just lost the plot,
Oh, he's
So
completely out of touch. I mean, among his greatest gaffes has to be something where like he went on Raw the night after Benoit was found or whatever. Like, uh, and anyway, you could probably list gaffes of McMahon's for like a
he's made a
while. I
few
mean, I don't
gaffes, dude. The dude is very gaffable, dude. No question.
That family is fucked up. And so with the rise of the new league, AEW, and the popularity of that, how does that affect the WWE? Like, what is the state of the rivalry between the two? I mean, I know that AEW maybe is considered much higher quality to the better fans out there.
Well, it just
Yeah?
depends.
No?
Just depends. It what it has done has been very divisive, man. It's like there really feels like, at least, and again, the internet to me is not real. Like, whoever who feels like they need to go on to Twitter or whatever to state an opinion, I don't know who that person is personally, but in that realm, it felt very divisive. Like, you couldn't like both. Like, you were in one camp or the other. But I think, WWE sees themselves as something else, and something that transcends. They don't even call it pro wrestling, right? So, but they can't pretend like they don't care. And so, like, initially they put their NXT show on Wednesdays against it and got their shit pushed in. And so now that's back on Tuesdays, but they haven't done anything else. Like, there's been a couple times where like AEW has a pay-per-view and they'll put on, again, for whatever reason, they always have NXT do it, but they'll be like, oh, we're having a free special on this, against the pay-per-view. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Hunter, when he's booking, he has people telling him, if he's not looking at it, he has an idea what's going on. But
Yeah.
but they don't, I don't think they want to pretend like they're not in competition with anybody. Even when it was like UFC and stuff, it's just like they just see themselves as some island of our own thing, which is just bullshit, but whatever.
I mean, I know this would be purely speculative, but how often do you think Hunter, aka Triple H, watches UFC and AEW shows?
Speculation is all we have, bro. I bet he gets the highlights.
Oh yeah, Hunter.
I don't think he sits down and pops the tape in himself, or if he's on the plane, he maybe. Yeah, I doubt. I probably very little.
Bro, I know I've asked you this before. Like, one of the most famous things in all pro wrestling history, I would say, I have a low level opinion, is the Montreal screw job.
Oh, the screw job.
Look it up if you want. Triple H was in the building, and it involved, Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. Anyway, Vince, when I learned about that, it was 15 years ago. Like, where do we stand on history's viewpoint of the Montreal screw job as it stands today? Like, where's the relationship between Shawn Michaels and Hitman Hart today?
Seems pretty good, man. I just saw something with them, chopping it up. I think, Shawn, it's really been wonderful for Shawn not being on fucking copious amounts of drugs. And I guess, he's also factored in the Lord Jesus. So he seems a way more chill and workable. So they seem to be on good terms. Now Bret Hart, he seems to be one of the grumpiest dudes walking the earth, but that's Bret. So I don't know. I mean, I would hope as we continue to move away from McMahon that it won't be brought up as much. It won't be like every time they're in Montreal or every time it's around Survivor Series. Like, they would beat the shit out of it. And I think that has sort of gone away. I hope. Feels like it, but on some level.
That happened, I believe, in 1997, and HBK probably went sober and religious like 8 years later, maybe, or something.
Yeah, it took him a little while. Yeah, it took him a bit.
I can't imagine the cocktail he was on that night in Montreal.
Well, by all accounts, a very insufferable dude during those years.
What happened when you and McCarthy met Bret Hart that one time? And
We've met Brett a couple times, and but the time you're talking about, so usually, like, depending on what the scenario is, like in that situation, that was like a pro photo op. So it's not like you don't go to the table and use your phone. Like you have a time, you show up, and so they're lined up. It's not a meet and greet. It's like, so I get
they're like, don't talk to the hitman.
well, they didn't say that, but
they didn't say it, but like, yeah,
I get very uncomfortable in situations where I feel like, I'm outside of the rules or whatever, in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, Vince, to your credit, you're kind of one of these guys who you could be sitting next to one of your heroes on a plane, let's say, and you probably wouldn't even say anything to them or bother them. So that's kind
I certainly have left people alone.
Values.
I have sat next to wrestlers on planes and not said a word. But I think
there you go.
But I think in this case, so then but Maddie's like, "Hey, man," and so he starts
Matt's
talking
got
to him.
that. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that he's like, "What am I going to ask the hitman?"
Yeah, the favorite movie is his line. That's like his go-to. So he asked him, and I was like, I was like just moving my way uncomfortably, like down the wall, trying to get away from everything, like trying to dig a hole in the floor, like get the fuck out of there. And I don't remember now what his answer was.
I can recall.
You do? You know what it was?
Yeah, it was. Matt asked him, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" on the way out, and he quickly said, "Shawshank Redemption."
Shawshank, yeah, Shawshank. Because I now have, like, every year when we go to like WrestleCon or whatever, like anybody we interact with, that question gets asked. But we have met back up with Brett a couple times in a less formal environment. But
what's he like?
Not super effusive. Like Kevin Nash. That's a guy who you feel like he doesn't care. He'll chop it up with you for as long as you want to chop it up. But it also probably has to do with, like, Nash is high as a Georgia pine usually at those things, so he's willing to get chatty. But.
What was it like when you went to Hart House where Bret the Hitman grew up?
Well, that was fucking great, man. That was probably 2008 or something like that, and I was up there with my dear friend Casey Corbin, who on a tour, and a guy named Matty Billen, R.I.P., was there. And Matt Billen was a guy who his family had a relationship with the Harts. He had been there as a kid. He was known as Owen Hart's #1 fan, and so he took us over there. But the house had already been sold to the city, and so they were like doing work. So we're like hanging around. He's showing us stuff. We're like taking pictures outside, and then we just walked in. And we were headed to the dungeon, dude. But then someone was like, "The fuck are you doing?" Like we got snatched up before we got too far. But it was pretty dope, man. Just seeing it and whatever. But I have set foot inside.
That's fucking awesome.
Made it about 15 feet before I got fucking tossed, but we were there,
dude. Well, here's to 10 more years of We Watch Wrestling with you and McCarthy, the best wrestling podcast that's ever been in this world.
Appreciate you, dog.
And speaking of the best, you're a rock and roll icon. Your new album is called Try and Survive. Now, was there a different process between your first album and your new album?
Well, so the first record, which was a 7-inch that had 6, it's funny, it had like maybe 6 songs on or something. That was
Outrage Culture.
I was out here and I was like, I just want to do a 7-inch. Like, I was like, I just want to get some guys together and like, I wasn't looking for a real band, and I wasn't, but then what happened was we started doing that and it just turned into a real band. So we started playing shows and whatever. And so I think those were just songs that we wrote when we got together to try to do a thing. And then when you become a band, so I don't know if the writing process was tremendously different, but it certainly took a lot longer, just the pandemic kind of we like ceased to exist, but
Oh.
but it's nice to this is the first time in doing I mean I put out a bunch of records, but as far as my own music, like this is my first full length, you know, so that's kind of cool.
Fucking A, dude.
And to have it on New Age, so there's like 4 different colors of vinyl and all that stuff is fun. It's
Oh
good
my
shit.
God.
Yeah, dude. I got to see GJ in the pit. I want to see you in the
Dude.
pit going off, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Oh,
Our drummer Martin he's sort of the driving force on the music end because
cool.
he is a drummer, but he writes riffs. And then I'm responsible for all the lyrics. But yeah, the band is together. There isn't, you know, it's not like it boils down to one person, but yeah.
Did everyone in the band like sort of have a history in like hardcore music?
No. I do. Martin to an extent. Carlos, no. Carlos, he was the touring bass player for Explosions in the Sky for a long time. But had not played.
Sick.
Maybe he was in a like kind of a hardcore-ish band before that. But and I don't know. I don't think Mike was. Mike has liked that kind of music and played stuff, but I don't think he was in hardcore. But who knows?
How does your amazing music in Cross Control differ from Explosions in the Sky? Is that like
In every way except that there's guitars, bass, and drums involved. In almost every single way. Yeah.
But it also speaks to being such a good musician that you could play in like the different types of genre, right? Okay.
I guess I'm not a player, so I guess I can't totally speak on it.
Oh, but don't you find it difficult to sing and be the lead singer?
Only in as much as sometimes I get a blood pressure headache after a show or something, you know, because of fucking just blowing it out. That's really the hardest part.
Dude, you are completely incredible. What is the state of the LA hardcore scene?
Hardcore is huge. Hardcore is huge. I mean, Turnstile's on tour with Blink, and the Sound and Fury festival that's out here every summer is as big as it's ever been.
When is Cross Control going to go on a world tour?
I'm thinking it's going to be a while, but never say never. You know what I'm saying? Never say never. We're trying to put together a couple of weekends, one of which would be on the East Coast.
Well, touring aside, I mean, aren't you just pleased with how the record came out? I mean, this thing fucking rules, man.
Of course, I'm happy. We recorded with Nick Jett from Terror, who's awesome. Yeah, man, looks great, sounds great. I'm excited. I'm trying to get as many other people excited as I possibly can.
Dude, I love you, man. Thank
I
you
love
so much
you,
for
bro.
coming here. Hey, before you leave, will you come back again, please?
Dude, all you got to do is text me, dude. I'll fucking be here, bro. Don't even worry about it. Don't
Vince, I
even
love
worry
you,
about
dude.
it, dude. Love you,
Dude,
bro.
you're such a good
Appreciate
friend to
you.
me, bro. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Careful driving out, though.
Right now.
Also, say hi to your family. I wanted to say one more thing. Your pets. I love your pets.
Cookies in the house, man. Moses, Mimi, Dottie. R.I.P. to Elvis. And you know, that's what it is, dude.
I love
that's what
it.
it is. Peace and love. Peace and love.